Okay, I'll give a quick recap on the first introduction session, and then we'll continue with the basics of SAP ABAP. So first we discussed about ERP. What is ERP? ERP is a enterprise resource planning software which helps to integrate the different departments of the organization, and ERP helps to improve the performance of the business. That is the advantage of ERP, and it provides better integration between different departments. And also it acts as single point of truth for the data. If you want to see financial data like sales data, purchasing data, human resources data, any data you can go into ERP and check it. Okay, it acts as single point of truth. Okay, so that all external systems also can access the ERP data. Sometimes external vendors also needs to access the ERP data. So they'll connect to the ERP system by using some APIs. Okay. So in SAP we build APIs to provide the data to the external systems. Okay. So SAP acts as a single point of source for the organizational business data. Next, what is SAP? SAP is a one of the ERP product, right? SAP ERP is one of the ERP product. So who developed this SAP ERP? Company name is also SAP. Okay. So SAP developed SAP ERP software. What is ABAP? What is ABAP? ABAP is a fourth generation programming language which we use in SAP ERP to enhance the standard applications or to create the custom applications. Okay, enhancing the standard application means SAP ERP is a product, right, which contains predefined functionalities, right, existing functionalities for all the different functional process. We can enhance the standard functionalities as per our requirement, or we can also create a complete custom application, right? For that we use SAP ABAP. It's a fourth generation programming language. We use some basic SQL statements and some ABAP syntaxes, right, to access the SAP, to develop the SAP applications. Okay, it's a user friendly or developer friendly programming language where all the syntaxes are in English names. Okay, and not only programming in ABAP, we do designing as well, designing the print layouts. Like how many of you know, like any bills, like in your regular transactions you used to receive your pay slips, your bills and everything, right, with company logo, address, terms and conditions at the end, right? So these print layouts also we design using SAP ABAP. In SAP ABAP we have different set of tools. By using those different set of tools we design the print layouts. Okay, it's combination of like coding and drag and drop navigations, where you need to use some navigations to design the print layouts and screens. Okay, and then we discussed about OLTP and OLAP. What is OLTP? Online transaction processing system. It is not specific to SAP. It's a common terminology in the IT world. OLTP and OLAP. So what is the use of OLTP system? It is to create the daily transactions, daily business transactions we create in OLTP systems, right? So what are the examples for OLTP system? Can you give me some examples for OLTP systems?
Create, delete, change, And
Real,
also,
can you give me any real world examples for OLTP systems?
Banks.
Yeah, banking system, like where they create deposits and withdrawals, and what are the other systems? Railway reservation counter, where they create transactions to book the seats, right? So these are all the examples for OLTP systems. Billing counters, they create the transactions, right? They daily create the transactions. Do they analyze the data in OLTP systems? Like what is the total sales or what is the total revenue from the past 4 years? Will they do that analysis in OLTP systems? Sorry. No, they don't do that because it needs to analyze to get that analysis, right? We need to analyze millions of records which are created over the years. So it will impact on the system performance, right? If you do analysis also on the same OLTP system, it will impact the daily transactions because it needs a huge system memory to summarize or to aggregate those millions of records for the data analysis purpose, right? To minimize that impact, like we use a different system for data analysis that is called OLAP system, online analytical processing system, where we use data analysis or generate the reports, okay, by summarizing or by aggregating the millions of records. Okay, here we don't create any transactions in OLAP system. We do not create any transactions. We just analyze the data. Sorry, what is the source for OLAP data? From where we get the data into OLAP system? Because I said uh, we don't create any transactions in OLAP system. But how can we get the data for analysis? We copy OLTP transactions into OLAP system, right? Daily, we keep historical data in OLAP system. But in OLTP system, we keep only operational data, maybe last 3 years or 4 years of data. Okay, previous data we archive, backup and archive the data because to reduce the system load, to improve the performance of the system. Okay, in OLAP system, we maintain the historical data to build the reports, right? To do the data analysis. So this is the typical ETL process, how we create the transactions in OLTP system and we move the transactions to OLAP system by using which process? ETL process. Extraction, transformation and load. Okay, we move all the records from OLAP system to OLTP system to OLAP system. When this ETL process will begin? After business hours, after closing the business, maybe after 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. Usually this ETL loads will start to extract the transactions created on that day from OLTP to OLAP system. So here by using that historical data, the management of the organization will generate the reports, right, to analyze like total number of sales or to analyze what is the product they are selling, like that is having highest number of sales in month of September, right? So who is the customer uh, that is making most of the business, right? What is the different customer requirements, right? And they can also analyze, right, what is the product that is having highest number of sales in a specific region, okay, a specific region, so that they can understand the customer choice and they can manufacture more related products to increase the sales. Okay, so by using ETL, we move transactions created on that day from OLTP to OLAP system. So here in ETL, we have to, could you please mute? Could you please mute your, please mute your,
Kavya Sripadi.
okay, thank you. So, okay, uh, when we are doing this ETL process, right, there are two terminologies you need to remember, full and delta. Full means complete data created from the beginning. we load that from OLTP to OLAP. Delta means only the recent records. So ETL will run every day, right? So yesterday we have already loaded the records which are created at that point of time. Today, when that ETL needs to start, so what are the records we need to load? Only the records which are created after the previous load, right? Yesterday's load. We don't load same records multiple times, right? We load only records which are created recently after the previous load. We call that as delta. Okay. What do you mean by full? Full means loading all the records, complete load, daily complete load. Delta means only records which are created today or after previous load, yesterday's load, whatever the records created after the previous load, right? Only those records we load into OLAP system. That is called delta. Okay. And what is the versions? So SAP ECC is the previous version and SAP S4HANA is the current version of SAP ERP. So SAP ECC is database independent. You can use any database for SAP ECC. That might be Oracle, Microsoft SQL Server, DB2 or any database it will support because it is built in a way that as a database independent so that customer can choose their own database, okay, as per their requirement. Later, SAP come up with SAP S4HANA which runs on only HANA database. HANA is a in-memory database which stores data in the RAM level. So where data will be saved actually in general in any device, if you take your mobile phone or laptop, where the data will be stored permanently, hard drive, right? In any traditional databases, data will be saved permanently in the hard drive. But in HANA, we can store the data in the RAM level. Which one is permanent? RAM or hard drive? Which memory is permanent? Whoever have basic computer knowledge, you should be able to. RAM is a primary memory and it is volatile, right? So whenever there is a power failure or whenever you turn off the device, whatever the data available in the RAM will be vanished or deleted, right? The data available in RAM is not permanent. It is only temporary as long as the device is on. Okay. So access data from the RAM is very faster than accessing data from the hard drive. So whenever you request the data, what will happen in your laptop? It will read the data from hard drive and keep the data into RAM, and from RAM you are able to access the data, right? That's why size of the RAM is very important for the performance of your system. Yes or no? Even if you take mobile or laptop, RAM is very important, right? To improve the performance. So here in S4 HANA, in HANA database, what SAP has did? SAP introduced in-memory database. In-memory means storing data in the RAM level. Storing data in the RAM level so that access of data is very faster than accessing data from hard drive. Performance is very faster when you compare with the traditional databases in-memory databases where we keep the data in the RAM level, right? As I said, is that RAM data temporary or permanent? Whatever the data available in RAM, is it temporary or permanent? It is temporary, right? Whenever you turn off the device, all the data in the RAM will be deleted. But what happens in the HANA? We are also saving the data in RAM level, right? In this HANA database. If you turn off the server, what will happen? Whatever the data available in RAM will be deleted, right? So for that reason, SAP has come up with a backup hard drive also. We, we store the data permanently in a hard drive and we keep most recent data or most frequently used data in the RAM level. From the hard drive, we keep that most frequently used data in the RAM. We move that data into RAM and we keep the data in the RAM. So the applications will access data from the RAM, not from the hard drive. Okay. Whenever there is a power failure or anything, any disaster happens, again, you can copy data from the hard drive to RAM level. System administrators can do that. They can copy the data from the hard drive to RAM level. Okay. So SAP S4HANA ERP will support only HANA database. It is not database independent. It is database dependent. But SAP ECC, the previous version of SAP HANA, it is database independent. Okay. But the performance is not as good as SAP S4HANA because they are not in-memory databases. So in S4HANA, all the application programs are optimized to run only on HANA database. Okay. There is no choice of using a different database here if customer want to use SAP S4HANA ERP. Okay. Is everyone clear till now? Is everyone clear? If you have any questions, please let me know. Okay. Next, we'll see the SAP architecture, SAP ERP architecture and the system architecture. If I want to, like, if I ask you a question about your mobile architecture, so what is your mobile phone architecture? How your mobile phone works? There will be a database, that is hard drive, to store the data permanently in your mobile phone, right? And only hard drive, if you have only hard drive, are you able to access the data? No, right? You need a software. You need a software, that is OS, operating system. In your mobile phone, you have an operating system, right? Android operating system or iOS, right? So by using that operating system, you can access the data from the database, right? If you have only hard drive, you cannot access the data, right? Once you install the operating system, by using the different programs like files, right? Like Gmail application, YouTube application, by installing all these applications, you are able to access the data from database, right? Yes or no? And you have a screen where you send the request and get the response from the screen only, right? You press something and enter something, request the data, it will get from the hard drive. That might be pictures, videos, files, or anything, right? So that we called as presentation, where you are able to send the instructions using some GUI, some screen, right? So whenever you send that instruction, a program will execute, corresponding program will execute, and it will connect with the database and get the data into screen level, right? That happens in any system. So how many of you are able to access Gmail? Most of you are using Gmail, right? Or any email, right? To access your emails. So if you take architecture of that Gmail, so how can you access the Gmail? By typing gmail.com, right? In your browser, or by installing app in your mobile phone. Yes or no? What is that browser screen or that mobile application? It is a presentation layer or GUI. Presentation layer or GUI. You are not installing any servers in your phone or in your laptop. You are just accessing the data by using that presentation layer, the browser or mobile app, right? But where the servers will be actually resides? Somewhere in US or somewhere in the Singapore. They maintain a separate server for the application programs to execute the programs, and they maintain a separate server for the database to store the data permanently. These different systems are not going to be on the same server. Each one is an individual server. We have a different server for the database. We have a different server for the applications, and users can access throughout the world using GUI or presentation layer, right? So if you take SAP, SAP is a R3 architecture, three-tier architecture. We have a database layer, right, which is a separate server. We have an application layer, which is a separate server, and a presentation layer. Presentation layer is nothing but GUI, right? All the users can access the SAP using GUI, right? Database can be anything if it is ECC system, SAP ECC, because that is a database independent, right? You can use Oracle, HANA, or any database for SAP ECC, the previous version of SAP ERP. But if you take SAP S4 HANA, it's running on only HANA database. It's not supporting any other databases. It is optimized for only HANA database. That is one layer here. And application layer. This is called application layer. What do we have in application layer? Application programs to execute the user instructions which are sending from the presentation layer. We have thousands of programs here. Depends on the user request, a program will execute here and connect with the database to insert the data or to read the data and display that output into presentation layer. Okay, so SAP is a three-tier architecture. We have a database layer, application layer, and a presentation layer. Okay, in database layer, data will be stored in the form of tables, and in application layer, application programs will be stored, right? In presentation layer, user can send the instructions and receive the output. Okay, is everyone clear about SAP R3 architecture?
Yes, yes.
And in previous session, I've explained about cloud version and on-premise. On-premise means organization is responsible to maintain their servers and administration activities and everything and upgrades. Everything will be taken care of organization itself. But if you go for the cloud version of SAP S4 HANA, it is like subscription. Like cloud, whoever maintains that cloud, they'll take care of system backups, updates, right? All maintenance activities of your servers, right? Your server is in control with that cloud provider, cloud service provider. Okay, so depends on the company requirement. Few organizations will go for on-premise version where they install all the servers in their company's premises, right, in their system landscape, right? And few organizations will go for cloud version, just subscription based. They don't need to worry about any administration activities, right? But in on-premise version, organization have more control on the data and they can do lot of customizations. If they need many customizations to the standard application, cloud version is not suitable. They go for SAP on-premise version. But if the customer or organizations have only limited customizations, they have only limited new requirements, right? Apart from the existing standard applications, then they can go for a cloud version, right? Because in the cloud version, there is limited scope of customizations or creating enhancements and customizations are very limited. In S4 HANA on-premise version, you can do a lot of customization as per your requirement. So, and I've also explained about master data and transactional data. So, master data is something, the data which changes very rarely, right? Like your bank master data or your customer master data, vendor master data, right? Which changes very rarely. What about transaction data? So, transaction data is kind of data which changes very frequently, right? Like your bank transactions, your any purchases, right? The data will be changed very frequently. So, to create any transactions, what is mandatory? Master data is mandatory, right? Like if you go to the shopping mall and you want to create a bill, first what they will do, create your customer master data by taking your mobile number, phone number. They'll create your customer master record, and for that customer master record, they create a transaction. Okay. First time you need a master data to create any transactions. In ETL process also, we are loading data from OLTP to OLAP, right? So what type of data first we move from OLTP to OLAP? Is it master data, transaction data? So whatever the
Master
master data
data.
created on the day, first we move whatever the master data we created on the day from OLTP to OLAP system. And then once the master data loads are completed, then we load the transactional records, transaction data. Okay, that is, it is not common to SAP, like it is common in any other systems also, right? First we load the master data, then we load the transactions. Okay, is everyone clear? Do you have any questions till now?
No, sir.
Okay, so what are the keywords we use in ABAP? So these are the few keywords what we use in SAP ABAP to create the programs, to develop the applications. Data, this is to define some local variables or local memory. Parameters for user inputs. Write, to display the output. Move, moving data from one variable to other variable, like one memory to another memory. Select, to select the data from database tables. Okay, reading the data. So if you observe, these are all in very plain names, right? English statements. You can easily understand these statements by looking at these names itself. Insert a new record into database table. Delete the records. Update the existing record. Modify is also similar to update. I'll explain the difference later, right? So these statements are very familiar, right? So you can easily understand when we are writing the programs. These syntax are developer friendly syntaxes we are going to write. Okay, let's see data types. What are the different types of data or data types we use in SAP ABAP? Data type C. C means character type data. To maintain any character type data, what is the data type we use? C. C means character. Character data can be anything, including letters, alphabets, numbers, and any special characters. So in the character type data, you can enter any value, including alphabets, numbers, and special characters. Can you give me an example for character data? Let's assume you are developing one application form, right? You're developing one application form. So can you give me an example for character type data? Name is character type data only, right? Yes or no? What about email ID? Email ID is also character type data, right? It includes special characters at the rate. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Address is also kind of character type data, right? City is also a character type data. These are all the examples for character type data. Next, number, N. So number data type can accept only numbers, It cannot accept any character type data, including alphabets and special characters. So can you give me one example for number data type? Mobile number.
19.
Sorry, you can take mobile number as example, and you can take pin code as example, right? Zip code, postal code. That is also example for number data type, right? Yeah, yes. For example, if you take any Aadhaar address, this is an example for number data types. Sorry, not Aadhaar number. These are all examples for number data type. You can store only numbers. For character and number, the default length, the default memory available for character and number is 1. That means, for example, if you don't provide any length, it can save only one letter A. Or if you don't provide any length for the number, it can store only one number, that is 1. Okay, default, that is the default length, right? Depends on your requirement, you are going to provide the length. For example, if you take name, we can provide up to 40 or 50 characters to store the name, right? For mobile phone, we provide 10. For zip code, around 6 or 8. 8, right? And next data type is date. What is date data type? To maintain the date values, we use date data types. Okay. So here we have input length and output length. What is the input length? 8. Output length is 10. That is internal length. If you open any SAP system throughout the world, what is the internal length of date? 8 characters or 8. It contains year, month and date. Year, month and date without any separators. This is the SAP internal date format. So this is the SAP internal date format. Year, month and date without any separators. Whatever the system it is, you can find this internal date format. We have to follow this internal date format when you are developing any programs. Okay. But when we are displaying the output, this is the external date format. This is the external date format with separators. Okay. Slash or dot depends on the user requirement. In some systems they use a dot. In some systems they use a slash. Okay. This is the external length of the date data type. 10 characters. Internal length is 8. So internal date format is this: year, month and date. It is same in any SAP system. You should follow internal date format when you are developing the applications. It will automatically convert into external when you are displaying the output. Okay. It will automatically display the date into external date format when you are displaying the output. But when you are using in the programs, you have to consider this as your date format: year, month and date. Is everyone clear? Time. Next,
Yes,
time
sir.
time data type. To maintain the time, for time also internal is 6 and external is 8. This is the internal time format: hours, minutes and seconds without any separator. And this is the external output date format with separator, with a separator. Okay, clear? When you are using the time data type in the programs, you need to consider this as the date without any separator. Okay, so it will automatically convert into output format. Next, we have a string type. So we have a string type. String type can also accept any type of data, including alphabets, numbers and special characters. Character also can accept the same kind of data, right? Any data including characters and numbers and special characters. But what is the use of string here? String is for undefined length. For example, if you take character, we can restrict the user to enter only 40 characters, right? You can restrict the name with 40 characters of data. But if you don't know the exact length of the data, for example, if we need to enter some long text, right? We don't know the exact length of the data. We need undefined length. In that case, we go for string data type. Okay. In that case, we go for string data type. So where you can enter the long text. Okay. Next, integer data type. In integer data types also, we accept only numerical data. We accept only numerical data. That means numbers. In number data types also, we accept only numbers, right? But what is the difference between integer and number? Integer can accept positive values and negative values as well. Positive values and negative values. Okay. So integer can accept positive values and negative values, but number cannot accept negative values. It will take only just a plain number like mobile phone, zip code. Those are not values, right? That is some data, not the value. But if you take integer, any value we need to maintain, right? We use a integer data type. It can accept a positive number and a negative number. Also, there is one special property for integer data type. For example, if you take this value 2.3, how this value will be maintained in integer data type? If user entered 2.3, it will be rounded into which value? 2. If user entered 2.6, it will be rounded into, how it will be maintained in integer data type? Because it won't accept any decimal places after dot. How this value maintained? How this value will be maintained in integer data type? 3. It will round the value. It will round the value. If the value is this, how this value will be maintained? If user entered 2.3, how this value will be maintained in integer data type? 2. Seal and floor. You might have already know, right? What is seal and what is floor? It will round the value. If it is greater than 2.5, it will round into upper value, upper limit, that is 3. If it is less than 0.5, then how it will be convert the value into lower limit, that is 2. Okay, it will round the value. That is property of integer data type, right? Next, I'll explain about packed decimal. So packed decimal will accept the integer decimal places. We can maintain the value including decimal places, so that we can maintain the exact value. We can maintain the exact value. If you take integer data type, it will round the value. But if you want to maintain exact value including decimal places, what is the data type we need to take? Packed decimal, P. Okay, so that it can maintain the values in decimal places as well. Okay, and we can maintain both positive values and negative values. Okay, it can accept decimal places also. We need to define like what are the number of decimal places we need to use. If you take integer, we are not going to get the exact value. We're not able to capture the exact value because it will round the value. But if you take packed decimal, you can capture the exact value including decimal places, including maybe paisa or cents. Okay, is everyone clear? And observe this table for conversion from which data type to what is the source data type and target data type. Can we convert the source data type data into target data type data or not? Character to character allowed, right? We can move one character value into another character value, that is allowed. Character to number, is it allowed? It's not allowed. Character to integer, not allowed. Character to packet decimal and floating point also not allowed. We cannot convert character type data into numerical data types. These are all numerical data types, right, which stores only numbers, number, integer, packet decimal and floating point. If you take number data type can be converted into any target data type because it stores only numbers. Integer also can be moved to any target data type because we are storing only numbers here. Packed decimal, that means packed decimal have decimal places, right? Point dot 50 or dot 60. We can move decimal places value with including decimal places into character data type. But if you take number, there is a star here. That means we can move only numbers. It cannot take decimal places. Okay, it cannot take decimal places. Integer also cannot accept decimal places. It will round the value. That's why they have given this star mark. It will accept the value, but it cannot accept the decimal places. It will round the value and take it. Okay, is everyone clear of this conversion? Okay, in the next session, I'll explain about how to create a basic program and how to define memory, right? And how to print the output, how to access the SAP system and SAP server, right? We can see in the next session. Okay, we'll start creating a basic program. Okay, by using these syntaxes like data, constant, parameters, and all these syntaxes. First, we are going to complete the basic ABAP, right? And in between, we see advanced ABAP like inline declarations. Once we complete the basic ABAP, then we are going to learn ABAP on HANA, where we create CDS views. And then once we completed all this basic ABAP, advanced ABAP, and ABAP on HANA, then we'll see basic of OData services. Okay.